chapter a day of Bhagavad Gita, just in case if anybody has joined us new. So what we do here is we recite a chapter of Bhagavad Gita every evening. Right now we are reciting chapter 11, I do apologize. And if the chapters are longer, we divide it into two parts. So in the first 4 weeks, we just recite the first part. And then in the later part of the 4 weeks, we recite the second part of the chapter. So in the 11th chapter, we are reciting the 27 verses. And every day we discuss one purport of Srila Prabhupada and one verse. So let's make a start by reciting this chapter. Just give me a moment. I'll just share my screen. Okay, so we have Sridham and Yash with us, who will be reciting us this chapter, a beautiful chapter, Vishwarupa, the universal form. And Sridham will do English and Yash will do Sanskrit today. So here we are. So Yash, you can begin with the invocation prayer, Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya, and then start the Sanskrit, and Sridham will lead the English.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Arjuna Vacha Madangrahaya Paramam Goyam Adhyatma Samjitam Yatvayoktam Vachastena Mohoyam Vegato Mama.
Sorry, Yash. Yash, I'm going to mute everybody and you can unmute yourself again. Okay, Sridham, go ahead with the English.
Arjuna said, "By my hearing the instructions you have kindly given me about these most confidential spiritual subjects, my illusion is now being dispelled."
Text 2.
Bhavapyayo hi bhutanam shrutar vistara somaya tvataha kamala patraksha mahatmyam apicha vyayam.
O Lotus-eyed one, I have heard from you in detail about the appearance and disappearance of every living entity, and have realized your inexhaustible glories.
Evam etadyatata tvam atmanam parameshvara drashtum ichami te rupam aishwaram purushottama.
O greatest of all personalities, O supreme form, though I see you here before me in your actual position, as you have described yourself, I wish to see how you have entered into this cosmic manifestation. I want to see that form of yours.
Manyase yadi tashchakyam maya drashtumiti prabho yogeshvara tato metvam darshayatmanam avyayam.
If you think that I am able to behold your cosmic form, O my Lord, O Master of mystic power, then kindly show me the unlimited universal self.
Shri Bhagavan Vacha Pashyame Partha Rupani Shata Shota Sahasrashaha Nana Vedani Divyani Nana Varna Kritini Cha.
The Supreme Personality of Godhead said, "My dear Arjuna, O son of Pritha, see now my opulence is hundreds of thousands of very divine and multicolored forms.
Pashya Dityan Vasunudran Ashveno Marutastata Bahuni Adrusta Parvani Pashyascharyani Bharata."
O best of the Bharatas, see here the different manifestations of Adityas, Vasus, Rudras, Ashwini Kumaras, and all the other demigods. Behold the many wonderful things which no one has ever seen or heard of before.
Ehekastam Jagat Kritsnam Pashyadya Sacharacharam Mama Dehe Gudakesha Yachanya Drashmechasi.
Okay. O Arjuna, whatever you wish to see, behold at once in this body of mine. This universal form can show you whatever you now desire to see and whatever you may want to see in the future. Everything moving and non-moving is here completely in one place.
Natu mam shakya sejashtum aneneva svachakshusa divyam dadami te chakshu pasya me yogameshwaram.
Okay. But you cannot see me with your present eyes. Therefore, I give you divine eyes. Behold my mystic opulence.
Sanjaya vacha evam uktva tato rajan mahayogeshvaro harihi darshayamasa partaya paramam rupameshwaram.
Sanjaya said, O king, having spoken thus, the Supreme Lord of all mystic power, the personality of Godhead, displayed his universal form to Arjuna.
Neka Vakshanaya Nam Aneka Adbhuta Darshanam Aneka Divya Bharanam Divya Neko Dhyata Yudam Divya Malyam Baradaram Divya Gandha Nulepanam Sarvashtaryamayam Devam Anantam Vishvatomukam.
Arjuna saw in that universal form unlimited mouths, unlimited eyes, unlimited wonderful visions. The form was decorated with many celestial ornaments and bore many divine upraised weapons. He wore celestial garlands and garments, and many divine scents were smeared over his body. All was wondrous, brilliant, unlimited, all expanding.
Divi Surya Sahasrasya Bhavid Yuga Padutita Jadibaha Sadrushi Sasyad Vasastasya Mahatmanaha.
If hundreds of thousands of suns were to rise at once into the sky, their radiance might resemble the effulgence of the Supreme Person in that universal form.
Tatrekastam Jagat Kritsnam Pravibhaktam Anekada Apashya Deva Devasya Sharire Pandavastada.
At that time, Arjuna could see, in the universal form of the Lord, the unlimited expansions of the universe, situated in one place, although divided into many, many thousands.
Tata Savimaya Vishto Rishtaro Madananjayaha Pranamya Shirsha Devam Kritanjale Rabashita.
Then, bewildered and astonished, his hair standing on end, Arjuna bowed his head to offer obeisances. With folded hands, began to pray to the Supreme Lord.
Arjuna Vacha Pashyami Devam Stavadeva Dehe Sarvam Tata Bhuta Vishesha Sangan Brahmanamisham Kamalasanastam Rishimshta Sarvan Uragamshta Divyan.
Arjuna said, My dear Lord Krishna, I see assembled in your body all the demigods and various other living entities. I see Brahma sitting on the lotus flower, as well as Lord Shiva and all the sages and divine serpents.
Aneka Bahu Daravatra Netram Pashyami Tvam Sarvato Nantarupam Nantam Namadyam Napunastavitavadim Pashyami Vishveshvara Vishvarupa.
O Lord of the universe, O universal form, I see in your body many, many arms, bellies, mouths, and eyes, expanded everywhere without limit. I see in you no end, no middle, and no beginning.
Kirtinam Gadinam Chakrinam Cha Tejorashim Sarvato Diptimantam Pashyami Tvam Dur Niriksham Samantad Diptanalarka Jitim Apremeyam.
Your form is difficult to see because of its glaring effulgence, spreading on all sides like blazing fire, or the immeasurable radiance of the sun. Yet I see this glowing form everywhere, adorned with various crowns, clubs, and discs.
Tvam Aksharam Paramam Veditavyam Tvam Asya Vishvasya Param Nidanam Tvam avyayaha shashvata dharma gopta sanatanastvam purusho mato me.
You are the supreme primal object. You are the ultimate resting place of all this universe. You are inexhaustible and you are the oldest. You are the maintainer of the eternal religion, the personality of Godhead. This is my opinion.
Anadi madhya antamananta viryam ananta bahum shashi surya netram pashyami tvam dipta huta shavaktram swate jasa vishvamidam tapantam.
You are without origin, middle, or end. Your glory is unlimited. You have numberless arms, and the sun and moon are your eyes. I see you with the blazing fire coming forth from your mouth, burning this entire universe by your own radiance.
Dyav prasivyo ridamantaram hi vyaptam tyaikena dishascha sarva shishtva bhutam rupamugram tavedam lokatrayam pravyatitam mahatman.
Although you are one, you spread throughout the sky and the planets and all space between. O Great One, seeing this wondrous and terrible form, all the planetary systems are perturbed.
Amihitvam surasanga vishanti kechid bitaha pranjalayo granti swastiti yutva marshi siddhasanga stuvanti tvam stutibihi pushkalabi.
All the hosts of demigods are surrendering before you and entering into you, some of them very, very much afraid, are offering prayers with folded hands. Hosts of great sages are perfected beings and perfected beings crying, all peace, are praying to you by singing the Vedic hymns.
Rudraditya vasavaye cha sadya vishvesvino marutashtam pascha Gandharva yaksha surasida sangha vikshanti tvam vismitaschaiva sarve.
All the various manifestations of Lord Shiva, the Adityas, the Vasus, the Sadyas, and Vishvedas, the two Ashvinis, the Maruts, the forefathers, the Gandharvas, the Yakshas, the Asuras, and the perfected demigods are beholding you in wonder.
Rupam mahate bahuvaktra netram mahabaho bahu rupadam bahudaram bahuram shrakaralam Shishtva lokaha pravyati tastatam.
O mighty armed one, all the planets with their demigods are disturbed at seeing your great form, with its many faces, eyes, arms, thighs, legs, and bellies, and your many terrible teeth. And as they are disturbed, so am I.
Nabha Hashvisham Diptamane Kavarnam Vyatanam Dipta Vishala Netram Vishtva Hitvam Pravyatitantaratma Triptim Navindami Samantra Vishnu.
All-pervading Vishnu, seeing you with your many radiant colors touching the sky, your gaping mouths and your great glowing eyes, my mind is perturbed by fear. I can no longer maintain my steadiness or equilibrium of my mind.
Damshra Karalani Chate Mukani Dristveva Kala Nalasani Bani Desho Najane Nalabesha Sharma Prasida Devesha Jagani.
O Lord of Lords, O refuge of the worlds, please be gracious to me. I cannot keep my balance, seeing thus your blazing death-like faces and awful teeth. In all directions I am bewildered.
Ami Chatvandre Tashtrasya Putraha Sarve Saheva Nipala Sangalhi Bhishmo Janaha Sutaputra Sutaso Sahasmadiyerapi yodamukyai Vakrani te tvaramana vishanti Damstra karalani bayanyakani Kechid vilagna Tashanantareshu Sadrishyante churniter utamange.
All the sons of Dhritarashtra, along with their allied kings, and Bhishma, Drona, Karna, and our chief soldiers, also are rushing into your fearful mouths. And some I see trapped with heads smashed between your teeth.
Hare Krishna. Thank you so much, Sridham and Yash. So just before we both go, just one reflection from you. Sorry, Sridham has to go because he's got a presentation to do. So maybe Yash, you can share one reflection from your side, something which stuck in your mind while you were reciting these verses.
I just felt happy because I liked the tune from 15 onwards, and I was really happy to try out that new tune.
Okay, that's wonderful. Thank you, Yash. Thanks for tuning in and reciting this beautiful chapter 11 with us and giving us your association. Thank you, Sridham. That was wonderful. So now we will move on to our discussion of the verse for today, which is text 7 from chapter 11. I hope all of you are keeping well. Okay, there are already a couple of comments here. Divya Garangi Mataji is saying beautiful recitation and Sanskrit pronunciation, Yash. And Sridham, amazing. Thank you so much. Beautiful. Thank you. Okay, great. So let me share my screen with all of you for today's verse. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, 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 Hare Hare. Chapter 11, text 7. Ihe kastam jagat krishnam pashyadya sacharacharam mama deha gudakesha yakchan yadrushtum ichhasi. Translation by and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. O Arjuna, whatever you wish to see, behold at once in this body of mine. This universal form can show you whatever you now desire to see and whatever you may want to see in the future. Everything moving and non-moving is here completely in one place. Purport. No one can see the entire universe while sitting in one place. Even the most advanced scientists cannot see what is going on in the other parts of the universe. But a devotee like Arjuna can see everything that exists in any part of the universe. Krishna gives him the power to see anything he wants to see, past, present, and future. Thus, by the mercy of Krishna, Arjuna is able to see everything. Om Jnanatimirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha. Namam Vishnupadaya Krishna Prishtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swamiti Namine. Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Pashyat Deshatarine Vanchakalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhuvevacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shiva Sadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. So this is a quick recap of the chapter 11, the universal form, as I did in my first session of this chapter, first verse. So what exactly is happening? I mean, the connection is there in front of you, which I've already gone through. But the breakdown of this chapter in this particular section where we are, which is text 1 to 8, Arjuna is requesting and Krishna is describing his universal form, or rather about to show the description. He's just speaking briefly that see what you want to see in the future, and what you probably want to see it now. It's all here. And then in the next section, which is text 9 to 31, Sanjay now starts to describe Arjuna's vision, because Sanjay had this benediction that even though he wasn't there right at the battlefield, but he was able to see completely everything, including the universal form of the Lord, and describe it. And in the third section, Krishna is going to explain from text 30 to 34 that time I am, and he requests or suggests or recommends Arjuna to become an instrument, nimitta matra. And in the text section 4 from text 35 to 46, Arjuna is now begins his prayer, trembling, bewildered, worried, scared what is going to happen, because now he see how wonderful, how amazing the Supreme Personality of Godhead is and what he can do. And in the final section, which is text 47 to 55, it is explained that only a pure devotee can see Krishna's two-armed form. Not everybody can. So in particularly this section, so what is happening here now in the section 1, Arjuna's request and Krishna's description of his universal form. And we looked at the practical application from this chapter, which was to understand the Lord's nature through the mercy of the Lord. That is the sort of essence of this particular section, and even especially today's verse. So the common theme here is that Krishna now responds by offering to show Arjuna the opulences he had described in chapter 10. You'll remember that among the mountains are Meru, you can see me as a sun, among the beast I'm lion. So all these different opulences Krishna was describing, now Arjuna, by the mercy of Krishna, will be able to see all those opulences manifesting in the universal form of the Lord. So in this particular text, he could see the entire universe, and Krishna is saying all moving and non-moving, and you can do this seated at one place. And Srila Prabhupada makes such a beautiful point in the purport. He says, even the most advanced scientists cannot see other parts of the universe, which a pure devotee could see it so easily. And also he talks about that could see past, present, and future, all what Arjuna wanted. So Krishna knew, you know, knowing that Krishna is a super soul situated in the heart of Arjuna, knows very well that what is it that Arjuna is desiring to see, although he's saying to Krishna, okay, show me this, but Krishna knows that he wants to actually see much more, or rather, Arjuna's real desire is that the Lord manifest himself in the universal form. So in the future, all the other imposters who will come and say that I am the supreme God, supreme personality of Godhead, they just can't claim that. They should be able to show their universal form to establish their identity as a supreme Lord. So Arjuna, and Prabhupada remarks it on quite a few occasions in Bhagavad Gita, that Arjuna had no need to see the universal form, nor was there a need for him to be enlightened. And Arjuna is already a pure devotee of the Lord. Of course, he's becoming an instrument, but he's showing all of us that although we are walking about in this life, but if we want to really get some perspective in our life as far as cultivating our Krishna consciousness or spiritual life, then we must take shelter of the spiritual energy of the Lord. Thus, Arjuna will be shown the future destiny of all the relatives and the warriors, and thus he will be motivated to just become an instrument. So that is really what the essence of this particular verse is. That what is happening, Prabhupada is making a comment here that even the scientists, they are trying so hard, so many companies like NASA, now Virgin Galactic is coming up. They want trying to go to space, Russia, so many countries trying to go to different planets. But Prabhupada is saying it's not so easy. But for a devotee, We don't have to worry about spending billions and billions of pounds. If there is that desire, although the pure devotee never really desired to see anything material or even the material form of the Lord, but even if he does, then Krishna will fulfill that desire. And as he's doing it for Arjuna, sitting it in one place, Arjuna is able to see all this wondrous form and see what is going to happen in the future, what was happening in the past. Because Krishna tells Arjuna that never was there a time when I did not exist, nor you, nor any of these people shall, and nor will we cease to exist in the future. So Krishna has made that very clear. But until now, for Arjuna, it was a theoretical concept. But now, Arjuna will see it from his own eyes, how Krishna will manifest all these wonderful forms of material creation. So here we see Krishna use the word Pashya, see, 4 times in the last 3 verses. And he's emphasizing that Arjuna should see this wonderful universal form never before seen, though once he showed an aspect of it to Duryodhan. So we all probably recall the wonderful pastime where Yudhishthir Maharaj requested Krishna to go to Duryodhan as a peace messenger to see if there was a possibility to avoid the war. So that's what an intelligent person should do when there is a war which is about to happen, even in our day-to-day life. What Krishna is suggesting us, or Yudhishthir Maharaj is suggesting us through his example, that try to avoid war, because a war will bring destruction, but this war, it was transcendental, so it brought auspiciousness for everybody, as it was Krishna's plan. But as far as we are concerned, we should invite Krishna our life as a peace messenger, keep Krishna in the center, and work with the householders, with the devotees in our community, with everybody, with every living entity we come across, to try and leave everyone with a good impression, as we say in our Sankirtan activities. That's our ultimate aim. So if we keep Krishna in the center of our life as our peace messenger, he will keep the peace in the house. But the moment we keep ourselves in the center of the house and Krishna takes a side track, then what happens is a war starts to happen in at various levels. One of those levels could be the modes of material nature. The modes of tamogun and rajogun, ignorance and passion, starts to pull us from one side to other side, and the war begins, or supremacy, as we hear from Krishna in Bhagavad Gita, between the 3 modes. But if you bring Krishna as a peace messenger in your home, in your heart, then the chances of the modes trying to fight with each other, and then us reacting, prakrite kriyamanani guna karmani sarvasha ahankara vimhutatma kartaham iti manyate. The living entity thinks, under the influence of the modes of material nature, that he's actually acting, but in actuality, the modes are acting, and we become puppets in the hand of these modes of material nature and start to think that, oh, I can enjoy my family, oh, I can enjoy this money, or I can enjoy this particular food item, or I can enjoy so many things. And that consciousness is not the best consciousness to be in, actually. So here we see Krishna was requested by Yudhishthir Maharaj to go and try to attempt to stop the battle at Kurukshetra. And Duryodhan and Karna, what did they do? They were so foolish that instead of trying to respect Krishna's opinion and come to agreement of being not having the war, they started, especially sorry, I'm going to have to mute the devotees because there's some background noise coming, if you don't mind. So what did Duryodhan tried to actually bound Krishna, thinking that he's any other living entity and he can put him in prison. Look at the offense of Duryodhan and his mentality. But what does our Acharya says? Our Acharya says that Krishna cannot be bound by anybody but except his pure devotees. Like Yashoda Devi, we know the two-finger, two-shot story, that how much she wanted to bound the Lord. But until Krishna showed his mercy, as he showed his mercy to Arjuna, in order so he can see the beautiful, actually it is a beautiful, everything about the Lord is beautiful, as Acharya has explained. To see the universal form, which is of course could be fearful in instance, even to see that. Similarly, Krishna, after seeing the effort of Yashoda and that pure love which was emanating from the heart of his pure devotee like Yashoda Maya, Krishna agreed to be bound by him. And similarly, there are many examples like in the life of pastimes of Krishna, like how uh, sh- um, Krishna's dear friend Sudama, he went with no desire to ask anything for him, but with a chipped rice just to offer it to the Lord. But the Lord could see that it wasn't his desire, but that was his wife's desire. So, although it was not, Sudama did not wanted anything. He didn't want anything for himself. But what did Krishna do? He decided to give him everything actually, and he relished that, such an old chipped rice. So here, Duryodhan, rather than treating and welcoming Krishna, he was trying to put him in prison. And Krishna said, "You cannot bind me, because I exist everywhere." And at that time, Krishna showed a part of his universal form to Duryodhan. He had just started to manifest that form, and Duryodhan for a moment became very, very scared and frightened. It is explained. But even though for that particular time he was frightened, as soon as he came back to his senses, he started to think that, well, Krishna is some kind of a yogi and he's using some kind of yogic powers or mystic powers to show this kind of form. And still he derided Krishna, and he derided universal form of Krishna completely. So you see, until we submit to the Lord with some intention of our devotional service in our life, it is very important where we put our attention and intention. You see, it is says that wherever attention goes, energy flows. So if our attention is in the lotus feet of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and Nityananda Prabhu, then the energy will start to flow in that direction. In the sense, our chanting will be nicer because we are thinking of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, who's Patita Pavan, who's come here in the Kali Yuga to deliver us. And as soon as we are able to think of the Lord in that way, uh, Krishna and Chaitanya Mahaprabhu will empower and give us their mercy. So our time, our effort, and our dedication can become even more stronger towards the Lord. So similarly, we see because Duryodhan did not have that love, he did not have that even tinge of devotion or even a slightest intention to please the Lord or to serve the Lord. He just took the form, universal form, for granted and thought it's some mystic power. And and he tried to, of course, bind the Lord, but he could not. So in this particular verse, actually it's from the purport of this verse, Srila Prabhupada writes this beautiful line which I came across, that the causeless mercy of Lord Vishnu is unparalleled, and such mercy is perceived by the devotee only by the grace of the Lord. So it is explained in Chaitanya Charitamrita that by the mercy of our spiritual master, we get Krishna, and by the mercy of Krishna, we get our spiritual master. So in the lives of our devotees, mercy plays a big, big role. So in one sense, we are nothing but a mercy case. That's what we are, because at least I can speak for myself. I was loitering in the streets of New Delhi, playing cricket, playing marbles. I came from a lower middle class family at that time, and I had no intention or no direction to look for the Lord, apart from the fact that I just followed a little bit my mother and my father. My mother was a fast on various days, worships many Devi Devatas. But of course, by the mercy of Krishna and many wonderful devotees, they are now nicely situated in Vrindavan and practicing devotional service even better than I could imagine actually. But in my case, I was just loitering around until I met the devotee of the Lord in form of my wife, and somehow or other got some idea that there is something called as bhakti, and there is something called as bhakta, and then there is something called as Bhagavan, these three elements. And then somehow or other, even now I haven't developed any taste, but I pray by the mercy of the Vaishnavas that that mercy will elevate me to the platform where I can actually begin to perform my devotional service. And that's what we should be praying. We should all think that we are mercy case. We can do effort, that's important. We have to carry on doing our sadhana, but our sadhana should be done with such sincerity and strictness and seriousness that it invites and invokes the mercy of the Lord. So let's see some of the examples now, how this mercy descended, like can descend. So we hear in the Shastra, sometimes the Lord, as a child of Mother Yashoda, he requested his devotees for some food as if the Lord is hungry. So can the Lord be hungry? He has no dearth of any wonderful items to eat. He can manifest anything he wants to eat. But he's running after Yashoda Maya, Maya, oh Maya, give me some makhan, Maya, give me some makhan. That's the mood of the Lala Krishna, in Vrindavan. That's what he's asking his mother. Please give me some makhan. And Yashoda Maya, out of his love, oh, my Lala is hungry, let me give him some makhan. And with that love and devotion, Yashoda comes up to Krishna and gives him some butter, and she thinks that she's taking care of the Lord. Look at the beautiful arrangement of the Yogamaya, which is the internal energy of the Lord, which even completely puts like a curtain in front of these pure devotees to even recognize that the Lord is the supreme personality of Godhead. That's how merciful Krishna is. And then we see sometimes he tells his devotee in a dream that his temple and his garden are now very old and that he cannot enjoy them very nicely. Like that, devotees then build beautiful temples in Vrindavan. All the Goswamis, they had such dreams. Please, now you've got my deity, now build me a temple. Where are you going? They had no money. So the kings of the Rajasthan will visit and they will give donation through which the beautiful temples were built. And then sometimes the Lord says he's buried in the earth and is unable to come out himself. And then he requests his pure devotees to rescue him. Like we hear in the case of Sanatan Goswami, we hear in the case of Raghunath Bhatta Goswami. All these Goswamis excavated these beautiful deities which were buried either in the Govardhan hill in some cases, or in other some places where the Lord will say, okay, I'm there, you come and take me out. And then they would go and excavate and find these beautiful deities. So what is happening here? It's a classic example of the reciprocation of the pure love of a bhakta towards Bhagavan. Because the Lord sees, oh, my devotee is very sincere, he's chanting nicely. Now let me go and manifest in the form of deity so he can engage in my service and I can derive a pleasure through this love and exchange of my devotee. So that's how our mood should be. We should all be praying, let the Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and Nityananda Prabhu come in my home. Let Jagannath, Baldev, Subhadra come in my home. Let Shishi Radha Krishna come in my home so I can worship them. That should be our desire. And we should constantly be praying, I'm not qualified, but somehow or other, if the mercy of the pure devotees are there, then they will bless us that yes, you can have the deity and begin the deity worship. So it's a similar concept, but slightly seen in our life because at least for me, I can speak, my consciousness is not so elevated that Lord will come and tell me. Of course, our Goswamis were the pure devotees of the Lord, so they could have such dreams. And sometimes he requests his devotee to preach his glories all over the world, although he alone is quite competent to perform this task. So the Lord what can he not do? He can do anything. He can preach all of us in one go. He can do anything, but he likes to give that task to his devotees. One time, Srila Prabhupada was asked that, Srila Prabhupada was glorified by his disciples. Prabhupada, you're doing such wonderful work, but, Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur, your Guru Maharaj, did so much of work, but still, so much is still to be done. And Prabhupada said, well, he's merciful on us because he's left it to me so that I can do some service. But the glory is all his because he had already arranged for his. So when he would see his disciple, he will tell, Srila Prabhupada will very lovingly glance at his disciples and say, there is a video where Prabhupada is giving a class and he says, I'm very grateful to all of you. You are being sent by my spiritual master, Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur Prabhupada, and you are his representatives. And Prabhupada starts to cry in the mood of having intense gratitude for the help his disciples were rendering serving Srila Prabhupada. So look at this beautiful exchange among the devotees of the Lord and the Lord. and it goes on eternally. It just gets better and better and better. Now let's see, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was quite competent enough to spread his name and mission all over the world, but he still depended upon his devotee to do this work. So now let me ask you, among the various devotees of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, name me some devotees through the chat button by using the chat line. Which devotee you think was asked to complete this mission or was arranged for this mission to be completed? Let's hear some names of the devotees. As we saw, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was competent enough to carry on this service and make the whole world Krishna consciousness. But he specifically left his task for many of his followers and pure devotees. So let's name some of the pure devotees who helped Srila Prabhupada, helped Chaitanya Mahaprabhu in spreading the Sankirtan movement all over the world. So I will come back to the chat messages. You can send it. I don't want to stop sharing the screen, but we will look at some of your answers. So considering all these points, the most important aspect of the Supreme Lord's self-sufficiency is that he depends on his devotees. This is called his causeless mercy. The devotees who has perceived this causeless mercy of the Supreme Personality of Godhead by realization can understand the master and the servant, and then he can begin his service towards the master. Now I'm going to share with you how this same mood we can develop of the devotees, some examples and some reflections which I wrote down for myself, that how can I work in such a way in my life where I can attract the mercy of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, my spiritual master, Srila Prabhupada, and our entire Guru Parampara, so that I can also become somewhat serious in my spiritual life. And if you feel that some of these examples resonate with you, then you can share your reflections with me. So the first thing I thought I would write, do I feel and behave like a master or controller in my day-to-day dealings, or do I take shelter of Krishna? That's the first question I asked myself. So the answer is, I definitely behave like a master and a controller in my day-to-day dealings. That's what I like to do. Like if I'm getting late, I'll blame my wife that it's your mistake. I'll blame my kids, it's your mistake, and not take responsibility that ultimately it's my mistake, um, and try to see that, okay, this has happened, it's my fault, and take an humble position. When I daily offer bhoga to Krishna, then do I make each offering to please him, or is it to please my own senses? I was reflecting on this. So in most cases, unfortunately, yes, it is to please me as to what I would like to eat. And sometimes, unfortunately, the consciousness is such that you're so hungry, you're offering to the Lord and you're thinking of the bhoga. But again, we are hopeful and mercy case thinking, oh Krishna, especially if you are serving Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and Nityananda Prabhu, they are really Patita Pavan, they are really, really merciful. We pray to them, my Lord, please forgive me of these intentions. Please take the best of me and let me go through the worst of me and purify me. And gradually one day I'll be able to make the bhoga in such a consciousness that I'm only doing it to please you. Then am I surrendered to Krishna or my spiritual master and properly engaged in his service, or do I even desire to surrender to Krishna at all? Can I take some steps to progress in that direction? Rather than endlessly waiting for some future favorable circumstances, can I make a small beginning today? This is what I was thinking, like today when I was preparing myself, that I'm running around trying to look for a house, do so many things, but all of those things unfortunately take precedent over devotional service in my life. I haven't come to a level where I can sit down and think, oh, well, Krishna will arrange or it'll happen. I'll do my endeavor. But mostly it becomes, in most cases, over endeavor and less Krishna conscious effort actually. So I thought this is something I can start to practice and pray to Krishna that Krishna, whatever I'm doing, let me think of you somehow or other. Let my mind be engaged in you in more and more time during the day. Then can the Lord depend upon me for any task? This is an interesting point. Have I purified my consciousness by endeavoring to daily chant offenselessly and by being sincere and serious in my own sadhana bhakti? So that's something to contemplate. Do I have even a desire to become his or his instrument? If yes, then do I share my desire with Krishna by daily praying to him for the same? Prayers are very helpful, ladies and gentlemen. So something we can definitely take shelter for. Which special devotee Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu sent, as I asked, and we will look forward to your chat answers on the chat message. Do I feel causeless mercy of the Lord, his devotees on me, or am I busy speculating being a victim of a family, job, and my circumstances? Do I understand and hence relish and taste the sweet relationship between Krishna and his devotees, or do I read such pastimes merely as stories from which I try to take moral of the story? So this is the difference when you take a shelter of a Shastra versus a novel. We are not here trying to take the moral of the story. We want to go and deepen our relationship with the Lord through his pastimes and imbibe the mood of his pure devotees who are enacting those pastimes. Last but not the least, am I reading and tasting and relishing Bhagavatam daily, or how much time does it take to read one verse and its purport daily? Do I get the time to read newspaper or browse internet daily? That's the question I ask, because yes, I work in a care sector. I have to look up at the news, but when I look up BBC to see what's happening in the care sector, your mind goes, okay, what's happening in the politics? So my mind is still has not come to the level where I'm only thinking of Krishna conscious literatures. And I pray to Srila Prabhupada, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, that at least he gives us some encouragement and empowerment so we can, at least on these 9 points, which I thought I would reflect, that we can become serious. So at the end, I would like to conclude that these books of Srila Prabhupada are actually the instrument through which we can get closer to the mercy of Krishna, because these books of Srila Prabhupada are showing us a path where we can attract the mercy of the Lord. And how we can read and study these books is very, very important. So tomorrow is a wonderful opportunity. In fact, this whole weekend is a great opportunity, ladies and gentlemen. We have wonderful programs by Radhika Raman Prabhu, who's giving us his association. He's such an amazing devotee. We will have such a good fortune to directly hear from him, see him tomorrow evening at 5 o'clock UK time for 2.5 hours, and hear how wonderful and glorious Srimad Bhagavatam is and have his association. But also this weekend, there are many things happening. One of the very amazing seminar which can really help closer to take mercy of the Lord is happening tomorrow. It's called Be a Sage, Page by Page, How to Upgrade Your Life by Reading Srila Prabhupada Books. It's an interactive webinar by His Grace Vaishashika Prabhu, which will be at 3 p.m. UK time. So from 3 o'clock to 4 o'clock is this wonderful seminar. Then you take a break and then you immerse yourself in the pastimes of the Srimad Bhagavatam from 5 o'clock. So the registrations are closing, I believe, tonight by 10 o'clock. I can share the link on the group with all of you. And you can register yourself and you will get a link to join the webinar tomorrow. So do register before 10 o'clock tonight if you are interested in attending this 1 hour long workshop, that how you can upgrade your life by taking shelter of Srila Prabhupada books by reading them regularly. So please, let's take shelter of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Srila Prabhupada. Hopefully we can attract the mercy, and one day we can also see the two-armed form of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Shri Krishna. So I would like to now end my session here and take any reflections, any comments, any questions, and let's see what comments you have. Who's that pure devotee to which Chaitanya Mahaprabhu gave the task? Srila Prabhupada, absolutely, he did. Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati, that is true. Bhakti Vinod Thakur, Narottam Das Thakur, all the Goswamis, Srinivas Acharya, all the 6 Goswamis, Raghunath Das Goswami, Jiva Goswami, Sanatan Goswami, Rupa Goswami, Haridas Thakur, Gopal Bhatta Goswami. This is beautiful. Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami, who gave us Chaitanya Charitamrita. Lord Nityananda Prabhu himself, that is correct. That is true. And all these names, when we vibrate on our tongue, our life becomes successful, because the names and the lives of these acharyas is what we want to stay close to. And more importantly, of course, it is Srila Prabhupada who actually was then empowered by all these incarnations and all these personalities, that Srila Prabhupada's heart was so full that he was distributing that overflow wherever he went actually. So let's hear any reflections or any comments or questions. I have Sandeep Prabhu come up on my screen. Prabhu, do you have any comments or questions? Are you all able to hear me?
Yes, Prabhuji. Yes.
Okay.
Yes, Prabhuji.
Okay. Thank you, Mataji. So any comments or any reflections anybody has?
Prabhuji,
Yashwini
can I
Mata.
say, sorry,
Yes, please
can
go
I
ahead,
say
Hema
something?
Mataji. Please,
Yeah.
please.
So it's all throughout Srimad Bhagavatam, we've heard about devotional service and how when you desire a specific form of the Lord, then he manifests that form to us. But this is the first time I'm actually reading the Lord saying that to us is whatever you now desire to see and whatever you may want to see in the future. So it's the first time I'm hearing Lord himself saying that this is, in Srimad Bhagavatam, there's a lot of reference on, but I've just heard Krishna himself saying that whatever you desire, you can see in my universal form. So basically, he's confirming that himself. Does that make sense?
Yeah, he's not only he's confirming himself that you can see, but he's also saying that whatever desires we may have, whether spiritual or material, he can fulfill. But especially in this case, because he's so driven by the love of Arjuna, he's saying whatever your desire, you can see it. He's making himself so much accessible that it's beyond um, our conceivable intelligent or power, Mataji. He's letting Arjuna see whatever he wants to desire. And not only that, when Arjuna had enough of the universal form, he said, Krishna, that's it. I can't take this form. You take the two-arm form. So he's not only his chariot driver, but he's actually almost become a puppet in the hand of Arjuna. Arjuna is saying, okay, tell me your opulence. Krishna goes, I'm this, I'm this, I'm that. Then he says, okay, I had enough now. How do I believe you are all this? Show me the material form. Krishna gets up and shows his universal form. And now Arjuna is saying, I'm scared. Please show me your two-arm form. Then Krishna is showing two-arm form. So imagine if that's the love Krishna has with Arjuna, how much more will he have for all the other devotees who are trying to love him and develop the devotion for him. That's how wonderful our Supreme Lord Govinda is, Mataji.
Yes, yes, very nice. Thank you, Prabhuji.
Thank you, Hema Mataji. Any other comments or reflections?
Prabhuji, you mentioned, sorry, one more question. You mentioned about that your chanting is better when you focus on the Lord's lotus feet. I heard Amarendra Prabhu saying that when you start chanting, the first round should be offered to your guru, the Panch Tattva, and kind of meditate on them, and then that makes your chanting much better. Have you experienced that?
Yes, Mataji. I mean, it is definitely better. All our chanting should be done in a mood of dedication and thinking of our spiritual master. I've had a good fortune when my Guru Maharaj comes and stays with us. This year, we have not had that fortune, but from the last 2-3 years when he came, we would always, not always, at least for the few days he's here, both me and my wife will sit down and chant with him, and that chanting of few days with him, uh, and my chanting for the rest of the year, I cannot compare. It's definitely I cannot explain, but yes, whatever helps one to do it the best. The main thing Prabhupada suggests is our pronunciation of the Mahamantra should be very clear. We should try and sit in a proper posture, and to be able to hear, Prabhupada says, hear the Mahamantra for a long time. And of course, the environment is very important. If you have deities in the home, you can sit in front of the deities. You can sit near to the Tulsi Maharani and chant your rounds. Anything, because uh, it is definitely a good idea to do that. But a disciple of a spiritual master, wherever he is, he's always connected with his guru. So in that sense, because bhakti is individual, for some of us, we may get inspiration by looking at our Ishtadev, our deities, and chanting a name. For some of us, we'll get the inspiration when we are looking at entire Guru Parampara seated in front of us and meditating on them.
Yes.
So definitely.
Yes.
Thank you, Mataji. Gautam Mataji is saying was very good to take into consideration the fact that when we read, we should be meditating on the relationship that the devotees have with the Lord and cultivate the understanding of their mood and worship of the Lord. And not only read it like stories with the moral, this will improve the way that I read scripture definitely. Thank you for that reflection. Very helpful, Mataji. I saw it in that way when I was reflecting on those points that, yeah, oftentimes I look at, oh, wow, beautiful, nice. But then do I actually think for a moment and start to think, okay, Yashoda Maya did that. How glorious is Yashoda Maya? How much love, how much thickness is there in her love that she's completely absorbed in thinking of Krishna. Oh, that's why she was able to bound Krishna in her love. So yeah, absolutely. And that's why the more we hear, the more we take shelter of the pure devotees, our consciousness will get better. So couple more reflections. You can either type it up and send it to me, or we can take the last one.
Prabhuji, tomorrow's Katha, it was telling me to download the app after I registered, but it doesn't let me download the app. So will we get a link?
Yes, you will get a link emailed to you if you have registered for the Katha. You click on the link. It is always advisable to somehow or other download the app because then you're sure of not having any issues. Well, with technology, you can never be sure of because.
It wouldn't let me download the app. It said cannot download app for some
So you
reason.
may have to try with somebody's help, Mataji, and see what it is. Otherwise, you should be hopefully be able to click the link. The another important thing I forgot to mention to all of you, because tomorrow is a day where I do not want to miss out on the opportunity, especially with my Guru Maharaj session and then Radhika Raman Prabhu. I I discussed and I thought about it that tomorrow and day after we will not be having our chat session purely because I would like all of us to join these katha in the evening from 5 to 7:30, and having been in front of the screen for 2.5 hours and then before that for an hour, and then on Sunday we have another similar thing, 3 to 4 is a program by His Holiness Radhanath Maharaj, His Grace Vaisheshika Prabhu, and I'm forgetting the name of third Maharaj. They're speaking about going to Golok, and giving us a boarding pass to go to the Golok spiritual planet. So I definitely want to tune in to that. So tomorrow and Sunday, we're going to, I believe it or not, take a break for the first time, but it's not really a break. What I will highly recommend is please take your time and find yourself to at least recite the chapter. We will take up from the text 8 on Monday. Probably it will be Mukunda Hari Prabhu. We have swapped the dates this time. Monday will be Mukunda Hari Prabhu. Tuesday will be Vrindavan Chand Prabhu. So let's take a break tomorrow evening, and then we will carry on from Monday. But please tune in for this session of Radhika Raman Prabhu, because I can tell you your life will not be the same after this weekend. That's my personal experience after hearing from him, especially if you also hear other seminars which are going on. Divya Gaurangi Mataji is sharing here that thank you Prabhuji for a wonderful class. I registered and look forward to this BSH page by page class by Bhagavatam classes and my Guru Maharaj class. Very auspicious weekend and lots of Shravanam. That's right, Mataji, lots of Shravanam. So I hope it is okay with all of you because it's nearly 3.5 hours of hearing. So that's why we are not really giving a break because we're going to be tuned in to the transcendental vibration tomorrow and day after. But we will pick up from Monday if that's okay with all of you. If it is okay with all of you, then please say Hare Krishna because I don't want to disappoint all of you.
Hare
Hare
Krishna,
Krishna,
Hare
Hare
Krishna,
Krishna.
Hare
Hare
Krishna,
Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna,
So
Prabhu.
I will,
Hare
thank you so much. I will share the link for
Hare
this.
Krishna, Prabhu.
Thank you, Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. I will share the link with all of you on the chat group for the BSH page by page seminar. Tune in. It's a 3 p.m. It says 7 a.m. That's the California time, but it's 3 p.m. UK time. I will send the link. Well, let me put the, if I can. No, I don't think I can put it. I'll put it in our WhatsApp group and then you can take it from there. So looking forward to having your association. I will be online tomorrow welcoming Radhika Raman Prabhu at 5 o'clock. Do tune in at least 10 minutes before the session so you're ready and you don't miss out a single bit of it. And look forward to your association there. Thank you for tuning in this evening and
Hare
giving
Krishna, thank you,
Hare
Prabhuji.
Krishna.
Krishna, Prabhu,
Thank
thank
you,
you.
Thank
Prabhuji.
you.
Hare
Hare
Krishna.
Krishna, Prabhu. Thank you.
Thank you. Hare
Hare
Krishna.
Krishna, Prabhu. Thank you.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Maybe
Thank
Namo
you.
Namaha.
Jai Prabhupada ki jai.
Hare
Hare
Krishna.
Krishna.